here are my 5 best tips when heading to Disneyland Paris. Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel, and if you are new here then welcome. I am Charlotte and this is my channel To Florida and Beyond. Please make sure you give this video a thumbs up if you like my 5 top tips for when visiting Disneyland Paris, and please make sure you have smashed that subscribe button because it helps me more than you could know. I thought it was only fitting since I was talking about Disneyland Paris and this has got kind of every Disney park's sticker and logo on there, so I thought it was only fitting to wear this just for this video today. So a little bit of an outfit. This is what I kind of wear when I'm in Magic Kingdom because it's the one I love the most. So yeah, thought I'd give you a little bit of a taste of my outfit. So if you don't already know and you're new to this channel, I will just give you a bit of a background. So for many years, for 25 years, we have been traveling to Disney, whether that is Disney World in Florida or whether that's Disneyland Paris. We have also visited Disney in California. I just wanted to give you some of my kind of top tips when visiting Disneyland Paris, especially because we are going to be heading there in a couple of weeks' time. If you haven't seen the announcement video from when we go into Disneyland Paris with all the details of what we're going to be doing there, then you can go and hit that link right there and it will take you to that video. Okay, so before I get into my 5 tips for this video, I just want to give you a bit of a kind of breakdown, if you haven't been to Disneyland Paris before, of just kind of what it's like and what's actually there. So when you get to Disneyland Paris, you can get right off the train and you've got the entrance to the Disney Village. Now, the Disney Village kind of takes you have to go through that security first, and then that takes you into the entire like complex. It's all built very much on the same one. If any viewers out there have ever been to Disneyland in California, you would know that when you get from the car park, you've got Disneyland on one side and you've got California Adventure on the other, and it's very similar at Disneyland Paris. So you go through the entrance, which again is into the Disney Village, so you don't have to have a ticket to access the Disney Village at all. You can get into the Disney Village just by going through the security. It's just like Downtown Disney / Disney Springs. You just have to go through the security and then you can come go onto this complex, and there is a World of Disney. There is a bunch of restaurants on there, again just like Disney Springs / Disneyland, Downtown Disney. There are a bunch of shops down there. Yeah, so there's all like everything that you need. There's a Starbucks, so obviously you can experience that on its own just without actually having a park ticket. Once you kind of come from the Disney Village, then you get to like the main entrance. So again, it's very much like California, where you have Disneyland that way and the Walt Disney Studios that way. So it's all kind of on this one little bit of area, which is obviously really great because you can just walk to everything. Everything's really accessible, which is nice as well. So that's kind of like what it looks like, and the breakdown obviously of Disneyland Paris if you've never been before. And now we will get into my 5 top tips for Disneyland Paris. My first tip for when visiting Disneyland Paris is to definitely make sure that you have downloaded the Disneyland Paris app. So if you don't know, then for Disneyland Paris and Disney World, they all have a specific app which allows you to see wait times and to book restaurants, book dining, anything like that. It is fairly new because they have only really brought this out since a reopening after COVID, but if you have got an iPhone or an Android, then you definitely need to download the Disneyland Paris app. So you can see that just there, so I'm just going to click on that one and it's going to take me to the app. So as always, if you don't know, I've mentioned them quite a few times, we get our Disney tickets most of the time from attractiontickets.com, just because they are the cheapest and easiest way of getting Disney tickets. This is not an ad for attraction tickets, these are literally just my own views, but we've used them for over 20 years and they're just amazing, so you know what you're getting. So we bought our tickets through Attraction Tickets. Now we bought 2-day, 2-park tickets, so we've got a park hopper, and we also bought the specific Halloween party ticket. And these are going to obviously, we need 2 different tickets because for the Halloween party it's like a specific entry, so we did have to buy them separately. When we got the tickets and we downloaded them, all I had to do was download the email with the PDF of the tickets and then scan them into the app. So I'll show you what I'm doing here on the screen recording. So you can see if you click onto map, it takes you to the kind of wait times currently, so obviously you don't have to worry about what the wait time is going to be when you get over to a ride, which is really, really good. Especially we found this was helpful in Walt Disney World because of just how obviously huge the parks are themselves, rather than having to worry about going over to a ride if it was shut down or if it was a ridiculous wait time, we could go on to something else. So there's a food option, and you can go and book all your dining options through the app as well, which is great because then you can just book in previous to all what you obviously want to eat and just go and then wait for your food while you're there. Especially for quick service, it's really, really good because you don't have to go up. You can order through the app and then you just check in while they say that you've got to the restaurant, and then they start cooking your food. So I'll just show you now how you actually link a ticket. So if you go into my account, and it gives you the option to link park passes or tickets, and it then just really, really simple. It basically tells you what to do. So you just have to scan the barcode that's on the PDF or the printed version, or you can type in manually the number as well if that's easier. And you can then just link it to your person in your party. So obviously you put your name in and then your tickets appear there. And what's really good with this as well is that we can link both tickets. So we're going to link obviously our just park passes, our 2-day park passes, but we also need to link our Halloween party, and it's going to keep them as separate. So that would be just the entry for every day into both parks. We can use them as many times as we need to. And I also know from previous videos and from going previously that your fast passes all goes through your app as well. So you just have to scan into your fast pass that's obviously linked to your ticket. Just scan your phone and then you're on to the fast pass lane. So that's my first tip. It's very, very quick rundown of the app itself, but if you are heading to Disneyland Paris anytime soon, then that is my #1 thing you need to do, and download obviously the app to be able to link your park tickets. I would also make sure you do have a printed copy of your tickets if you can, just because obviously, you know, we never know when the internet might go down or your phone might not work. Just being able to have that backup with you. I think what we were going to do is get maybe some lanyards with that we could put the tickets into, just so that we've got them paper ready as well if we ever need to, in case the app goes down or anything like that, because let's face it, we can't trust technology. So that's, I think, what we're going to do as well. Okay, so for tip #2 when visiting Disneyland Paris is actually more of like a budget tip, I think. Definitely do your research if you're looking to book a trip to Disneyland Paris. Before we booked this trip for Rebecca's birthday, I think I must have spent 2 solid days just looking on every kind of deal, every website I could find that had a deal of Disneyland Paris, or if I could do it separately, which would be cheaper. But definitely do your research, otherwise it can be quite expensive for just a few days. I love obviously Disney more than anything in the world, but the Disneyland Paris hotels are extortionately expensive. You can get some deals, I think, if you are a family. I think at the moment they've got a deal on that a family of 4, so 2 adults, 2 children, can actually go for less than £500, but it is extortionate when you've got 5 adults going. So we always just make sure that we do a bit of research. I searched Magic Break, I looked on the Eurostar, the Eurotunnel, just to see what kind of best deal we could get for the time of the year, and it turns out that like Love Holidays for us was the cheapest option. Now in the past we've booked directly through booking.com for our hotel, and sometimes on booking.com they do actually have the Disney hotels on there, and then like I said, obviously we book our tickets separately through Attraction Tickets, so we don't have to buy them. And at the moment you can also book your hotel through Attraction Tickets, so you can get hotel tickets through Attraction Tickets as well, which gives you a bigger discount. Definitely make sure you are doing your research into making it a more budget friendly trip. I priced up on the Disney website straight through Disney tickets, hotel. We're staying at the Marvel Hotel because I love Marvel and I would love to stay there, and for 5 adults it was going to cost about £8,000. So it was not a feasible holiday for us. Now, while you're thinking about kind of what budget you'd like to set for Disneyland Paris and making sure you're kind of doing your research on where you'd like to stay and what best deals you can get, I also want to mention that there are multiple ways that you can get to Disneyland Paris, which may impact on what deals you go for. Obviously with Walt Disney World, it's very much, you've got one way to get there if you're from England, and that is flying there. However, with Disneyland Paris, because obviously it is so close to England, there are multiple ways that you can find the best option for you and the cheapest option and the most budget friendly option. You can either fly there, which is what we're doing in a couple of weeks, from lots of different airports. We're flying particularly from Manchester because that's nearest and cheapest for us. Or you can get the Eurostar, so you can actually get a direct train from London St Pancras all the way into Marne Valley at Disneyland, so it is literally on the doorstep. And with the Eurostar, you actually don't have to worry about your luggage. Your luggage gets taken onto the Eurostar and then dropped off at your hotel if you have that service. Or obviously you can just get the Eurotunnel. You can drive down to Dover and actually just get the, or Folkestone should I say, so get the 30-minute train across to Calais and then drive on from there. Or the last option obviously is driving down to Dover and getting the ferry across to, again, to either Calais or, I can't remember the name of it, or the other place, I'll insert it right there, to then obviously drive again. Now, I would warn you, we have done a lot of road trips to Disneyland Paris before, so we've actually done the Eurotunnel or getting the ferry across the English Channel to get to France, but then it is about a 200-mile journey from Calais to Disneyland Paris. Now, we love a good road trip, so we've done that in the past, especially if we've stayed at other places on the way around, like way down to Paris. But obviously it is quite a journey. The reason why we've decided not to do it this time is because we are there only for just a short amount of time and we're not doing anything else at the same time. So we're just doing Disneyland Paris, and we thought it would be better to just get there as quick as we possibly can. So that's definitely kind of included in that tip of doing your research. I'd definitely say make sure you explore all your options. So that is probably my second tip, is definitely do your research. Don't fall into the trap that the best way of booking everything is going to be directly through one particular company. It might be cheaper to book a hotel with somebody, tickets with somebody else, and then putting it all together. It's not that hard to budget a trip to Disneyland Paris if you just do your research and know what you're looking for. For tip number 3, I would definitely say to check out the Disney Partner Hotel. So it kind of links into tip number 1 as well, but Disney Partner Hotels are off-site of the Disney property at Disneyland Paris. If you haven't been to Disneyland Paris before, you don't know the kind of setup. With Walt Disney World, obviously everything is very separate. Everything is kind of through the gates, but everything is very separate. Whereas at Disneyland Paris, everything is kind of all on the same complex. So you've got the 2 parks that are very, very close to each other, and then kind of staggering back from the Disneyland Hotel, which is right on Main Street, looks out onto the Main Street and Castle. You've then got the Marvel Hotel, which is a little bit further out, and so on and so on. And there's 5 hotels all on the Disney property themselves. And then you've got the Disney Village, which is like downtown Disney. So one thing I would say is to not kind of get sucked into the need to stay on Disney property. There are so many of Disney Partner hotels, even independent hotels, that offer shuttle services, free shuttle services to and from the parks every single day. And pretty much my entire adult life of going to Disneyland Paris, when I was a child, we did stay in the Sequoia Lodge and the, I think the Cheyenne, I want to say the Cheyenne hotel, but as we've got older, obviously they've got more expensive generally, so we now tend to stay either in independent hotels or in the Disney Partner hotels. So in the past we've stayed at the Magic Circus, which I know has been rebranded to, I think it's now called the Grand Circus or Grand Magic or something like that. The last time we went there for the 25th anniversary, that's where we stayed, at the Magic Circus Hotel, and we are now staying at the Dream Castle Hotel in a couple of weeks' time. So these Disney Partner hotels, they all have a free shuttle to and from the park that takes no more than 10 minutes, depending on which hotel you are at. They come every 30 minutes, and you can literally come straight out of the park where the buses are and the shuttles, and you are right there, right next to the train station. So you don't have to walk very far, you're not going off site, you're not being left stranded. They're really, really simple and easy to use. But the Disney Partner hotels feel like you're staying in a Disney hotel. So they all have very much kind of Disney tickets available if you want to buy them at the hotel. They have Mickeys everywhere, especially when we stayed at the Dream Castle Hotel. There was literally everywhere you went kind of circus Mickeys everywhere, and they very much do feel like you're staying in a Disney hotel. We've also stayed in some independent hotels as well, which are again slightly further out, kind of all works in like concession of each other. Slightly further out, but again some of them do offer free shuttles. Some of them you have to be careful. Some of the independent hotels offer shuttles to the train station, that then you need to get the train into Disneyland Paris, which is obviously not ideal, but some of them do offer the free shuttle. But if you are looking to be a bit more budget friendly and not have to pay the price for the Disney hotels, don't get me wrong, if I could afford to stay in a Disney hotel, then I really would. I would love nothing more than to stay at the Marvel Hotel, but it's just way too expensive at the moment, especially because they have shut the Disneyland Hotel, which is the one that's on Main Street, like I said, for refurbishment. So the kind of one that they're promoting the most at the moment is the Marvel Hotel, the New York Hotel, especially with the open of Avengers Campus. So the prices are way up there. And like I said, don't get me wrong, I would love nothing more to stay there properly and have that whole experience, but it's just not in the budget. So if you are looking to be able to kind of go for an affordable Disneyland Paris holiday, then that's my kind of advice, is to look at the Disney partner hotels and even the independent hotels, but just knowing those kind of things to look out for, making sure they've got shuttle services so you're not having to worry about how to get to and from the parks, and obviously making sure that they're not too far away. Okay, so my tip number 4 for Disneyland Paris is to always be prepared for every kind of weather condition. It's not quite like going to Walt Disney World, where you can kind of pretty much expect the sun pretty much most of the day, apart from in the summer when you're going to get a storm. But at Disneyland Paris you have to be ready for any kind of weather conditions. We have very much spent many years over the past having to wear raincoats and have umbrellas with us because it rains all the time in Disneyland Paris, or then being really, really warm and being like uncharacteristically warm and having to wear shorts in the summer, and then it dropping quite cold again after that quite quickly. So really just try and be as prepared as you can with every kind of weather outfit. It's very typically like being in England, that you just don't know what weather you're going to get. So please make sure if you are visiting Disneyland Paris, you have a umbrella, a raincoat. Obviously if you want to, get a Disney poncho, but also have clothes that you are able to kind of layer up. So if it does get warm, you can obviously take the layers off. When we're heading to Disneyland Paris in a couple of weeks' time, I am planning on taking a raincoat that I can kind of fold up into my bag quite easily. It's just one of those things that with Disneyland Paris, just because of where it is, you just don't know what kind of weather you're going to get, so you definitely need to be prepared for that. Okay, so my 5th and final tip for this video is kind of more about your overall experience while at Disneyland Paris. If you kind of go to Disneyland Paris expecting it to be very much like Disney World, if you've been to Florida, or even like California if you've been there, you have to kind of appreciate it for what it is. I think no park can you directly compare between them each other. They all have very much their own unique way about them and style, and I don't feel like you can really compare them. Obviously there are very much similarities because obviously it's Disney at the end of the day, but you have to kind of appreciate one for what it is compared to the other. It's much smaller than obviously Walt Disney World. It's very much based on Disneyland in California, hence the name. And you have to appreciate that there's going to be certain differences and changes in the park which make it unique to itself. So obviously all of the Disney parks have their own castle, so it is a Sleeping Beauty castle like it is in California, but obviously very different. It's kind of, for me, I've always thought it was a mashup between the castle in Walt Disney World for its size and kind of structure, with the obviously added features of Sleeping Beauty's castle in California. I feel like it's a bit of a mashup between the two, but just appreciating that obviously it's going to be much smaller. You're going to get a different kind of demographic of people. Obviously it is in Disneyland Paris, it is in France, so you do have to sometimes be okay with the fact that there are things that are in French. But it's just a kind of different experience, and it's a cute experience. Obviously Walt Disney World will forever be my home park. It's the one I've been to since I was 2 years old, and kind of the one we visited the most. But I love going to Disneyland Paris just for its kind of quaint cuteness, and obviously that it's not too far away from where we are, which is always helpful. But I do like the fact that it does pay homage to the original Disneyland as well, because you almost get that it's more like being at Disneyland than obviously it's being in Magic Kingdom at Disney World. But it's got its own unique kind of lovable way about it because of that reason, and it is really nice to be able to do such short trips, 3 or 4 days, and know that you can kind of cover everything, that like unlike you would be able to in Walt Disney World, that you can kind of get everything done in that time. So that's always like a really kind of nice thing for us as well. And I know there's quite a few people out there that do get annual passes that are English. It is something that we've looked into in the past, because obviously you can save a lot of money that way. Even if you're just doing 3 or 4 days every few months or whatever, you actually do end up saving a lot more money, and you get a lot more perks with the annual passes. So it is something we've looked into before, being able to just kind of go for a few days and get Disneyland Paris done in that time. Now don't get me wrong, like I said, obviously you go and it's still like walking through the gates of Disney. You still get that warm fuzzy feeling. I still cry every time I walk down Main Street, regardless of what Main Street it is. If you do know Walt Disney World or California that you might be looking for, your attractions that you can't actually find. There isn't a Carousel of Progress, which is my absolute favourite. There isn't certain other rides that there are at Walt Disney World. But there are some that are the main ones that are there. One thing I always really love is actually when we go to Disneyland Paris, it was the first time we went on Big Thunder Mountain. We hadn't been on it in Walt Disney World, and it's actually a very different ride. So although it's the same ride that you can find in Walt Disney World, it's very different while you're on it. It lasts for way longer than the one in Disney World, and you also end up going like climbing 3 times throughout the ride, so you don't just kind of climb once like you do in Disney World and then that's it. But even like little tweaks like that are really quite cute, because although they are things that you know are similar, when you actually get on them they are slightly different and slightly more exciting. I know, not that I've been on it personally because it's not my thing, but I know Space Mountain is way different from Disney World to Disneyland Paris. So all of that obviously is like, there's little tweaks, but things that obviously are similar. Now on that note, I'm not going to get into that too much, because one of my next videos, which is going to be up next week, is actually going to be a direct showdown between Walt Disney World and Disneyland Paris. So I thought it would be a little bit of fun way from this, kind of leading on from this video of my tips for Disneyland Paris, to actually do a comparison video between the two, so Disney World and Disneyland Paris. I know there are many more Disney theme parks in the world, just because I've been to these two the most, obviously I know these ones like inside out. So I'm going to be talking about that more in that video, so please make sure to watch out for that one, because that's going to be coming up next week. I'm hoping to get that up next Wednesday. Please look out for that one, because it's going to be a really fun little kind of showdown. We're going to do verses and see which one comes out on top. Okay guys, so they were my 5 main tips for when visiting Disneyland Paris. Now obviously there are many more things that you might want to know about Disneyland Paris and about what you'd like to visit there in terms of dining plans and all that kind of thing. If you would like me to do a part 2 for this video, then please give me a comment down below and I will come up with my new tips. Or if you have a question that you would like me to answer in another tip video, then please comment down that below as well, and I will get that video up for you. that's going to be it for today's video, guys. I hope you have enjoyed learning my 5 tips for going to Disneyland Paris. I'm also going to be doing a little plan with me for Disneyland Paris, just to give you an idea of what we're going to be hopefully doing and whether or not we're going to be booking the Disney Premier Access, which, if you don't know what that is, it's kind of like the Genie Plus service at Walt Disney World. So we're going to be looking into the Disney Premier Access for the rides and kind of see whether it's worth it or not. Yeah, so look out for that video because that'll be coming really soon. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Please make sure you've given this video a thumbs up if you agree with my tips or if you have liked what I've been talking about, and please make sure you've hit that subscribe button, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.